What's up, everyone? Now, I want to talk about, welcome to my channel. Yes, we're going to talk about more reasons why people are gaining weight, right? On a carnivore diet or keto, same dang thing. But a lot of you guys, I said this before, you're adding a lot of fat and you're starting to gain weight. Now, I just did a live for my my Facebook private group. And this woman was saying, I'm going to pull up the slide later if I can. And she was saying, why am I gaining weight? And I'm like, I don't know. What are your macros? She's like, well, I'm eating 180 grams of fat and 250 total grams of protein. I was like, did you get the number wrong? Are you talking about in weight? She's like, no, total for the day. It's like 3 pounds of meat or something. I said, look, she's like, well, I was learning this from other gurus. I go, look, how tall are you? She said, I'm 5'5". And she was overweight. So clearly she is not, once her glucose is spiking, there's not going to be enough GLUT4 receptor sites to uptake that glucose that she created by eating all that protein. So pretty much eating 250 grams of protein, it's like eating a candy bar. You might as well eat a candy bar because it made her blood sugar skyrocket from like she was like in the 90s up to like 140, 150 just by eating meat, people. Be very careful. That's why using a glucometer is so advantageous. You guys go check out the Mojo. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but they're an affordable company where you can test glucose and ketones via the blood. And she was testing, and she's like, my blood sugar is going higher and higher and higher, and all I'm doing is eating fat and meat. But that meat now has become, it's turned into a vehicle of like a candy bar, except with that high protein, she's not able to store glycogen, right? Because protein is a crappy source of energy. It's always got to either be from fat or carbs, not protein. So she's so lucky she just started doing that because she was running up against kidney disease, not even just weight gain, but kidney issues, right? Kidney issues, thyroid issues, all kind of issues. Eating that much protein and 180 grams of fat. Ratio is completely wrong. She should be eating at least 200 grams of fat. And I said to put her protein between 50 and 70. At 5'4" and overweight, she's not going to be as active as someone who's got less weight on them with the sliding filament and actinomycin. Now, that's one of the main reasons why people are gaining weight. They're also gaining weight because they cannot get you are gaining weight eating this much fat on carnivore because you are not getting your stress down. You still might be fasting. Didn't know that your blood sugar is becoming a little high or resistant, and then you're adding in all this fat and your body just takes everything in the bloodstream and stores it because you didn't realize you were going into gluconeogenesis via cortisol from fasting, because they don't tell you this stuff on the other channels. And now some people are just starting to talk about it, but really you could gain weight. But she was like, oh my God, I feel better. I sleep better. She's like, when I upped my fat, I felt better. And I said, well, take down that protein right before you create kidney disease, and continue to up your fat at least to 200 or even 220. And she's like, do I worry about the weight gain? I said, no, you'll probably lose weight once you drop that protein down, and keep your stress down to moderate your blood sugar. Okay. It's very, very important. Now, also people who are exercising when they have adrenal fatigue and they're tired or they're drinking coffee, they also can spike their blood sugar, hence spiking their insulin, and they start to store, right? That's why I love looking at the A1C. Somebody was saying to me, the A1C doesn't register fructose. I'm like, we're not eating fructose on carnivore, so just whatever. Now, let's, I want to talk about the thyroid, because this is another reason why a lot of you guys are gaining weight while doing keto or carnivore, because you're not in ketosis, you're eating that too much protein, blood sugar's all over the place, but actually your T3 starts to become low. And if you're making thyroid hormone, you may not be getting that hormone into the cells, which is why the thyroid testing is some of the worst testing to indicate if you actually have thyroid disease. I want to show you guys a video that someone sent me. I love this man. Like, he's dope. And it's short, quick video, and I thought it'd be really good for you guys to understand that if your thyroid is underactive and you can't convert T4 to T3, you're not even making T4, and you're like not getting the equipment to be able to even make thyroid hormone, like vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, copper, selenium, iodine from the sea, not from these freaking supplements. Vitamin D from the sun. And if you don't have the sun, get a spirit tea, get a vitamin D3 lamp. Make sure you eat foods that are high in vitamin D, like butter if you don't have a histamine reaction, like egg yolks if you don't have a histamine reaction, or some of the fattier organ meats. I like liver. All right, let's do this. Let's look at this homeboy because he's amazeballs. But let me just make sure my video's ready to play. Okay, so this man, his name is Dr. Bill Cole. So probably a lot of you guys have already heard of him. Dr. Bill Cole. Let's get it. Okay. We still recording? Yes, we are. Okay. All right, guys. Check this out. Love it. Go.
You know, I have a lot of people that have come to me over the years and they've got classic thyroid type symptoms, right? They've got thinning hair, they've got dry skin, got brain fog, anxiety, depression, can't sleep. They've got gut problems. Big one is always going to be low energy. They can't lose weight. That's another big one. And then they're frustrated because they've been to their doctor. Half of the time, the doctor will tell them they don't have a thyroid problem, which I'll explain in a second. And then the other half of the time, they're identified as maybe having a hypothyroid condition, and the doctor will put them on medication, but 90% or so don't feel any better, or they do feel better for a little bit of time, and then it kind of wanes over time, and they're back to where they were. Well, what's the frustration with that is that the doctors are going off of what's called a TSH test, right? If your TSH is high, that means you are hypothyroid. If your TSH is low, that means you're hyperthyroid. And their whole goal is to manage that TSH number. If you're the type of person who hasn't gotten sick enough yet, if your TSH is still in the normal range, that means you have the hormones in your blood, and your pituitary, which sends out this thing called TSH, is not sending out too much of it. So your TSH is looking good because it's sensing that the hormones in your blood are good, but you don't feel good. That's half of the thyroid population, by the way, who have a thyroid condition. Not a deficiency of thyroid hormones, the inability to get those hormones into the cell of the body. That's where they do their job. T3 in particular goes into the cell and it will communicate. Active T3 is your thyroid hormone. T3 is your active thyroid hormone. It will go into your cell and it'll communicate with your DNA. It'll communicate with your mitochondria, which are your energy factories, and it helps you make energy. And so if you don't get T3 in, would it make sense why somebody would have low energy? But the doctor is not looking at that. He's only looking as to whether or not the hormones are in the blood, essentially. And if they're in the blood, that person's considered good to go, but they don't feel good to go. Like I said, half of them are told they don't have a thyroid problem, even though they have all the symptoms, or many of them that I just listed for you in the beginning. Then the other half of the people, they're put on Synthroid, right? Or they're put on levothyroxine or some sort of thyroid medication. And I'm not saying there's not a time and a place for medication. I'm just saying that why are so many of the people who are put on medication, why don't they feel better? Why do they still have low energy? Why do they still have brain fog? Why can't they still lose weight? Well, again, it goes back to not whether or not you have the hormones there, whether it's the one you're taking or the ones your body's already making, or a combination of the two. It has to do most of the time with the inability to get those hormones into your cells of your body. Your cells are your building blocks, right? They're our foundation. All life and health begins at the cell level. If you have a symptom, I promise you, there is something gone wrong at the cell level, because that's where all function comes from. If you have a symptom or dysfunction, even a full blown disease, it's always traceable back to something gone wrong at the cell level. But every doctor is taught this, that almost no doctors are explaining this to their patient. They're not dealing with it in that patient's life. They're basically either trying to cover up symptoms or manage numbers on a piece of paper, like the TSH test.
This, I love it, because Dr. Bill Cole, he just explains it in a very simple, easy to understand way. And yeah, I thought it'd be really, really great to show you guys why, like, people are doing, let me move this over here. Okay. People are doing a carnivore diet and they're gaining weight. And they're like, I thought I was supposed to lose weight. Or people are doing a keto diet and they're like, I'm supposed to lose weight on this diet. And a lot of people, when they did keto for years, they started to develop thyroid issues. Or people doing OMAD or fasting, and they don't even know, because they'll go and check their TSH and it'll come back normal, like he said, right? If your TSH is high, then you're hypo. If it's low, you're hyper. You may not be making enough T3 or reverse, or not reverse T3. You're not able to make enough T4 to then make enough T3, or you might make all those hormones, but they're not getting into the cells because the cell's door won't open it up and let the T3 in. So even though you're taking these levothyroxine or Synthroid or even Armor or Nature-Throid, people are still having symptoms, and the doctor keeps titrating up and titrating down and doing the blood tests, and nobody's working on getting the body to open the door and let the dang hormone in, so your hair can grow, so you have full blood circulation, so you can poop, and so you can and have energy and drop body fat. People can do a carnivore diet and like don't even know they're exacerbating the freaking thyroid. They have an underlying thyroid disorder, don't even know, because they do these stupid tests. They're super subjective. They can't see. Science is not so advanced where they can see what's going on into the cell or if things are going in cells. You have to take things with a grain of salt. And that's why I think symptomology is so important. So when I talk to my clients and their doctors titrating up and down the freaking thyroid medication, and they come back, oh, look at my blood test. And I'm like, okay, let's go by how you feel. Okay. These are some of the reasons why people are gaining weight on carnivore, because they actually start dropping their T3 and it starts to get too low, or they're making it, but now the body won't open the door and let it in even more because it's under stress with too much cortisol and not enough ketones, because you didn't up your fat because you're too afraid of gaining weight, when you don't even realize that you're making yourself insulin resistant by eating all that protein. You're going to have to go through hell before you go to heaven. You might have to up that fat, feel better, start to repair the gut or repair your thyroid or your adrenal dysfunction or your sleep or whatever it is, before the body is going like this. And then when it starts to balance again, because you stayed right here and you stayed tight in here, like your integrity was intact and you weren't obsessing about weight, then your body will unlock. The thyroid will start to function again, especially if you're able to get nutrition for the thyroid, which is like oyster extract and organ meat and liver and getting enough fat. And then when the thyroid starts to work again, then you can adjust your stress and fix your life, because stress also can drop your T3. And doing carnivore and keto can be a stress on the body because you're not adapted, because you guys are so afraid of eating fat. I'm like, oh my God, I gained weight, so let's drop the fat. And then your T3 tanks even more. And then you become skinny fat or just still fat. So here are some more reasons why people are still fat or gaining weight or not losing weight while doing carnivore, right? Watch your insulin, watch your thyroid, and watch your electrolytes, because a lot of people are going up in water weight and don't even realize it. Legit. Now I gotta go. And watch that protein. Be careful, guys. Moderate to low, high fat. And I'm out. Energy. Sort of been working hard. You guys can go to stephanieperson.com if you want to book a consultation. If you want to sign up for my course where I go over all these 3 subjects of low carb, high fat, keto omnivore, and keto carnivore, high fat carnivore. How to do it right without jacking yourself up. Life is good. Life is tough, but life is freaking good. Don't give up. Stay strong. I'm 55, 16 years strict in ketosis. What? Life is good. And I want you guys to enjoy it too. All right. And I'm out. Peace. Oh, yeah. Share this content. Hit the notification bell. And my Instagram is Stephanie Ketogenic. Bye, guys.